Well, welcome to another episode of Sage Studio. I'm Tiffiny Webster, and today I am joined by two guests from our high school department. I am so excited to have them on the podcast so that we can talk all about Sage Oak CTE programs. I'm going to let them introduce themselves and explain a little about what our CTE programs are. So, first, let's start with Traci. Welcome, Traci.
Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you for having me back. I always love doing these podcasts with you. And this time, we get to have a topic that is so exciting because I love everything about CTE. And what is even more exciting about the program itself is having somebody that is also equally excited about CTE. So we have our new assistant principal, Laura, here with us today as well.
Love it. Welcome, Laura. We are so glad to have you here on the podcast.
Thank you, Tiffany. I'm so excited to be here I've heard so much about the Sage Oak podcast. I'm happy to join. And I'm so excited to be at Sage Oak and to have this conversation about CTE, something near and dear to my heart, and to share it with our students and families.
Well, I know that they are eager to dive into this conversation. So first, for all of our listeners who might not be familiar with CTE, first tell us about what that acronym even stands for.
So when we're talking about CTE, we're talking about career technical education courses. And you'll hear the term CTE pathway. And that's because these courses are a sequence. So they're generally a sequence of 2 or more classes, and they're supposed to align with a student's interests. So they're supposed to be connecting to college, industries, career, and really honing in on a student's particular interests. At Sage Oak, we have 3 specific pathways: our child development pathway, our sports medicine pathway, and our arts, media, and entertainment pathway.
Okay, so the pathways that we have are specific to those different careers, and each of those different career paths have a accumulation of courses that will help students be prepared for those classes.
You got it.
Okay, awesome. So tell me, Traci, I'm going to ask you. I know we're always trying to innovate, always trying to add new things to the program. What is the inspiration behind the initiation of all these CTE programs?
Well, when we first considered implementing CTE programs at our school, one of the driving factors was a rather alarming statistics. We found that only about 11% of business leaders strongly believed that college graduates were prepared to enter the workforce.
Oh, wow.
That's alarmingly low. We recognize that there is a clear disconnect between traditional education pathways and the practical skills and knowledges businesses expected from young professionals entering the workforce. So this gap highlighted an urgent need to integrate career-focused education earlier in a student's journey.
Mm-hmm.
So our CTE program was born out of this necessity to bridge the gap between academic learning and real-world professional readiness. And we wanted our students to graduate with applicable skills that employers value right off the bat.
So important. Things always look different when you're in an independent study model like Sage Oak. So tell me a little bit about how do our CTE programs look in our model as compared to how they might look in a traditional brick and mortar school model?
Oh, certainly. When we look into our CTE program in like our Sage Oak non-classroom based independent high school compared to the traditional brick and mortar ones, some benefits of our model is the unparalleled flexibility that we have to offer our students so they can adapt their learning schedules around their commitments. If it's recreational activities, responsibilities with their families, personal projects, anything that they're working on. So the flexibility not only caters to the diverse learning styles, but also allows students to engage with the content when they are most receptive, which can be a game changer in terms of retention and application. And we have the ability to change our CTE programs a lot quicker than those necessarily at a brick and mortar high school. So as the industry changes, then we change along with it.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see how our model really yields to that ability to be flexible and continue to kind of ebb and flow as needed for either the changing industry or the needs of the students. So that's a really good point. And Laura, I know you were talking about our 3 different strands, which are the child development, the sports medicine, and the art and media. So explain to our listeners, so how then do you integrate those CTE courses into their regular schedule? And how do we do that in a way that kind of helps to keep that flexibility while also keeping them on track? I mean, how does all that work?
This was thought about from the very conception of CTE, about how do you integrate it into a course sequence? How do you integrate it into a high school 4-year plan? And what does that look like? And so for us at Sage Oak, it means that you are getting required credit, post graduation, and often A through G credit when you're taking a CTE course. So you have to take electives to graduate, both for high school graduation and A through G. So if you're planning on going to a 4-year college in California, you need to take a good number of elective credits, and this CTE requirement meets that. For Sage Oak, we have a CTE or VAPA requirement, and this meets this as well. And so it is already integrated into the 4-year plan. So while there's plenty of good electives out there, this is one that meets a multitude of requirements and also integrates that college and career readiness skills.
I think that sometimes students might feel like, oh no, this is something extra I have to do on top of all the work that I need to do in order to graduate. So it's good to know that actually, by being a little bit strategic, by working with your EA to select your electives, you could actually choose electives that are meeting the elective requirements for graduation, while at the same time they are walking you down this path to gain some familiarity in a concentrated area of study to prepare you for those next steps for outside of high school. So great to know that students can really maximize their
Mhm.
credits here through this process. Okay, let's talk a little bit about technology. So, how is technology integrated into these programs, especially again in our non classroom based independent study world? How does that work?
So that's part of CTE, right? We want them to get that real world experience. What is the current up to date technology that you'd be using in the workforce? And how do we give our students exposure and opportunities to experience that? And that's what we're doing. So even with our model, students are getting certifications, hands on experience with our arts, media, and entertainment pathway. They are getting the Adobe and Illustrator certification, which is an industry recognized certification, and our sports medicine, they're getting kits delivered to their home that they're getting to experience the hands-on taping and wrapping part of that process.
Tracy, do you want to speak to the technology that's there in the child development program for a minute? I know that you were kind of integral in bringing that piece of technology into that program.
So what is so exciting about that these babies, the real babies as they're called, they have a computer chip in them and it monitors everything, how the student is interacting with this baby at home. So did they keep their head tilted correctly while they were feeding them? How long did they let them cry? How often was their diaper changed? So it monitors everything and it has a report that it shows back to the student.
It really does integrate the technology in a very unique way. And I think all of that data is really important for students to see too, so that they can measure their success in that simulation. So it's great to see that that's a way that technology is being incorporated into something like childcare, where you wouldn't necessarily associate that with technology. Okay, so we have covered so much already, and there's still so much more that I want to make sure that our listeners know about when it comes to the CTE program. So we talked a little bit about the benefits to the students, learning these career skills, earning certificates potentially that they could take with them beyond high school into the workforce. We talked about how these classes can count towards electives that they need for high school credit already. So they're just maximizing the time that they have while they are in high school. Talk to us a little bit about post high school. What are some of the benefits and the outcomes of graduating with the CTE experience once students are in the workforce or ready to go to college? How does this play a role?
Well, I'm really glad you asked this question actually, because CT has been around for a little bit. The California Department of Education released some new data on this. And so they recently shared that 79% of students who completed a program are likely to go straight into to college, which is amazing. They also came out to find out that they're more likely to have a higher GPA in college and be successful your freshman year. And then, of course, there is the benefit of your work experience. So you're more likely to go into a higher paying job right out of high school as well.
I think that's really important for our students and our parents to know about, is that in addition to just learning the actual skill set, the practice of working towards a goal and the practice of being committed towards a certain pathway and continuing to progress and increase your knowledge in a subject matter has all of these other wonderful benefits, which is the preparation students have for doing well in a college program or doing well into a job straight out of high school. So it's really great to see that that's another component of this program. Okay, Traci, talk to me a little bit about collaboration because we want our students to not only have these skills, but if we can hand them off to a great internship or to a great job or to a great college, that is even better. So, what do our Sage Oak collaborations with other businesses and partners within the community? What does that look like for our graduating students?
This part is so exciting because we're working with this company. It's a nonprofit called Launch, and they connect high school students and community college students to local businesses. For example, after taking our college and career readiness class, the students like, hey, I'm really interested in automotive repair, especially for electric cars. And they take an intro class with Riverside Community College. They connect with Launch, and then Launch gives us the assistance to placing them in a paid apprenticeship or internship with companies such as Honda and Toyota. And usually we think of like apprenticeships with like building and construction trades. However, the Launch Apprentice Network, they've modernized this apprenticeship by integrating the earn and learn system into the institutions of higher education. And so there's like this organic link between employers seeking the talent supply and students and job seekers looking for the opportunities. And schools are the natural connection for them both.
So important for actually launching students. It's a great name for it because that is really the whole point. We're trying to give students this runway of how do they get to the career that they want to have better and faster. So really nice to have the support of that. Okay, how does that then play into the capstone courses? Where's the connection there?
So that would be the capstone course. So our capstone courses are largely internships, work experience, apprenticeships. They're project based. They'll be working for our art students and working on a portfolio. They'll also be studying for and taking exams such as the Adobe Suites, getting their certificate or InDesign certificates. So it is a combination of all of these things that make them much more ready to face the workforce when they leave high school.
Got it. It's so great. It's so comprehensive. For that reason, I mean, I can imagine that this is becoming more and more popular for our students. Are there plans to expand the CTE offerings here at Sage Oak?
Yes, I don't think that will ever stop expanding. That are kind of on our immediate horizon because we
Okay.
already have, some computer science classes, AP computer science class that's in-house now. So we're looking to really develop our IT computer science and our gaming pathway. So many
Ooh.
scholarships out there now for gaming, and there's a large industry that surrounds all of the gaming pathway and everything that's involved in it. Our healthcare pathway may be 2 years away, but we're looking for our computer science and our gaming one for next year.
Wow, that is super exciting. I know that that one's going to be a big hit because as you mentioned, not only is just a fun industry that people love to be a part of, but the fact that esports are really becoming something that is recognized both at the collegiate level and at the professional level really does make it have a place in the market for jobs and careers going forward. So, very exciting. Okay, Laura, I'm going to go back to you and let's talk about prospective students. What would your advice be for any prospective student that's considering enrolling in one of the CTE programs here at Sage Oak?
For any prospective student, I think the best advice is just to jump all in. I think sometimes students can be hesitant of, I'm not sure what I want to do when I graduate. And if I take this course, am I gonna have to become a doctor, or whatever it might be? And that, no, that's not true. By taking this opportunity, you are showing commitment, that you're showing that you're willing to try something new, that you're getting an experience to develop those college and career readiness skills. So you're going to be more prepared to take whatever next steps that you choose to take after high school and beyond. But also that, if you're a little hesitant or a little nervous, I'd also say that being in the CTE course and a pathway, you're in the CTE program. And that comes with more than just being in a class. It comes with the camaraderie of growing with a group of students through this experience. It comes with the instructors who are, taking you on special field trips for the CTE program. And it comes with extending your learning from outside of the classroom. So if a prospective student is interested, my best advice is just to try it, just to take a course and give it your best and jump all in and have a good time.
I think that's such good advice. I really do, because for all the reasons that you mentioned. Okay, where is the first step for them if they want to find out more information about the programs and kind of look over the classes? Where should students start?
Well, this is a great resource. And I also think that, really their EAs are the best first point of contact. We have such incredible educational advisors who are deeply passionate about helping students find the right courses and the best opportunities. I am also always available as a resource for students who want to talk about CTE and possible paths and planning, as well as our college counselor, Coral. So start with their EAs and lean on the other resources that we have.
Good. Good to know. Laura, are there any misconceptions about the CTE program that you want to debunk? Any myths out there that you think that students might need to know about before they might have a misconception about the program?
One that I've heard a couple times from students is that they think that CTE is a program that's only for students who don't plan on attending a 2 or 4 year university.
Mm,
The benefit of participating and completing a CTE pathway is for all students. So, one of the good things about this experience is if you continue on with your interest, if you go through this child development pathway and you want to become a preschool teacher, you've already taken a lot of the work and possibly even a community college class. So, you have that knowledge base and that skill set. And so, you are more prepared to jump straight into your major. So, I think that's one that I always just like to highlight is that the CTE program really is for everybody.
Tracy, as we wrap up here, kind of give us some final thoughts about how our CTE programs fit into the overall mission and vision of the school, because I know we always want to continue to stay true to our Sage Oak core values. So, how does this align with our Sage Oak core values?
It aligns perfectly. Our mission is educating students through a personalized and collaborative learning approach, empowering them to lead purposeful and productive lives. And the courses really lean into the empowering students as part of our mission. So when you take a class that's specifically designed to equip you with the skills and gives you an opportunity to practice those skills, you'll become confident and empowered. And of course, we want our empowered and highly trained students to use their skills to impact their communities, which connects to the vision of our school, which is Sage Oak students embrace their unique potential and are inspired to positively impact their communities. It's so perfect, isn't it? It just blends right together.
It does. It really does. And again, I think that's why we continue to grow as a school and bring in new families because our programs are not stagnant. They are always growing as our core values say they will and do. And it's really great to continue to have all of these offerings for our students. Well, I cannot thank you both enough for joining me today on the podcast and giving us that wealth of knowledge about the CTE offerings here at Sage Oak. I think it's really exciting for us as a school. I think it's even more exciting for the possibilities for our students to really help them discover what they're passionate about, what they're interested in, or maybe what they're really good at that they just, didn't know until they had a chance to really explore it on this deeper level. So excited to see what comes of this program. I always love to hear what's going on with your programs over there in high school. So thanks so much for joining me today. And we'll link any information that our parents or students might need to the show notes below so that you can find out more information on our CTE programs. All right. Thanks, Laura. Thanks, Tracy. Always good to see you guys.